Brian Dutcher is here, brought to you by Sunroads Kearney Mesa Subaru. It just makes sense. Minutes from anywhere in San Diego. Dutch, it's Darren. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me again, Darren, as always.
What do you make of that situation there, where you're talking a little bit about Trey and then watching how it played out over the weekend?
It was a beautiful shot, a big time play by him. To guard the guy that made the three over top of him, and he played elite defense on that play. But Sherfield bounced up, made a shot, and there were 4.7 seconds. And he said in the press conference, and I heard this, long ago, that you get one dribble for every second. So he got it in. He charged up the floor. He actually took 5 dribbles in 4.6 seconds and hit the runner, which is his shot. He loves the runner, and he banked it in to win the game for us. And it was just a great moment, not only for Trey, but for our team.
And you called it. Did you have? You couldn't have predicted that situation, obviously, but it seems very prophetic, Dutch, that you come on the radio station and you talk about him in that capacity, and then it comes to reality here against Nevada in a game that you guys absolutely had to have.
Yeah, it was a important game for us. We'd already dropped one at home in this 4-game set, the first game to Colorado State, and now we've fought back and won 3 in a row, and that was a big game. Both Nevada games went down to the last 2 minutes. They were almost replays of one another. Jordan Shackle hits big threes when we're down to take the lead. We get a stop, and their best player, Sherfield, missed a 3 at the end of the first game. The second game, he actually made the 3, same shot, step back 3, and then Trey got the ball in and rushed end to end to make the runner to help us get a victory in a hard-fought 2-game set with Nevada.
Brian Dutcher's joining us on Extra 1360. I read a little about the history of the buzzer beaters here, at least the recent history of the buzzer beaters since you've been and Coach Fisher were here in San Diego. What's it like being the head guy, watching, knowing that it was not a win or lose situation in that moment, but what's it like from your vantage point? How much what's going through your mind as you're watching it all play out there? Is it slow motion? Is it hyper quick? What's it like when the ball's in the air, et cetera?
You're just hoping. I mean, a couple games earlier, Matt Mitchell had an end-to-end charge. He almost had the identical angle and shot, little bank shot at the side angle, and it fell off and we lost to Colorado State. And then Trey had the same kind of angle, same kind of drive, and it went in. So when they say it's a game of inches, it truly is. And these games are going to go to that wire. We're not under the belief that we're going to just go in and blow people out. We know that these games are going to be close and that we're going to have to make timely plays if we want to win these games. And against Nevada, we were able to make these timely plays. Now we got to go on the road for 4 games, and that's a whole different beast, and we'll see what we're like when we get to Logan, Utah tomorrow and play on Thursday.
There you go. 9-2 on the season for San Diego State. They're 3-1 in conference play. They've won 3 straight games after losing their first game against Colorado State, won the second game, swept the series at home against Nevada. And as you said, now this is different. I mean, this is nothing, Dutch, that you've ever experienced before, going on the road to play the same opponent back-to-back, Thursday, Saturday. How do you come up with a plan? You just told us here that you're going to be on the road. You're going to be going to Logan, Utah tomorrow. Who all contributes to the plan of travel? What to do when you get there? What to do on the day off?
I mean, this is our first flight we've made with this team. We've taken 2 bus trips, one to Phoenix, Arizona State, and then we played St. Mary's up in San Luis Obispo at Cal Poly's facility. And so those are bus trips. This is the first flight we've made since the season started. That sounds almost impossible to believe as we get into mid-January. But this is the first crew road trip, so we'll put masks on. We'll N95 masks up and get on a bus, get on a plane, and then fly there and take another bus trip up to Logan. The meals now, Darren, they're all prepackaged. I like to eat with the team. We're not doing that anymore. We're prepackaging a meal when they get there. They'll take it to their room and eat, and then we'll come back and socially distance and do our film work for the night. And the next day we'll get up, do a shoot-around, do final prep on the court, and then step out and play the game on Thursday night.
Okay, and then what?
Well, the day off, it's like when you used to travel with travel partners. You get ready for the next game. This will be an easier prep because it'll be the same team a second time. So instead of saying, well, in the old days when we go play Wyoming and then play Colorado State, or go play BYU then Utah. You'd be on the road that day and you'd have to change preps and get ready for the next game. This is more like you have a day to make adjustments. So the prep won't be as intense. It'll be, well, we need to guard this a little different. We need to do this a little different. And you make a couple adjustments and then you go play them again. And so the thing I'm concerned about, obviously, people know I don't want to be that old record that plays over and over. Altitude is an issue. We'll be second game at altitude, and we'll see what that does to us.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of different ways, a lot of different interesting things here. And I'm not trying to sound all nosy here on you, Dutch, so I'm just, this is a challenge. Like, this is such a different situation. You talked a little bit about how your meals are going to be prepackaged when you hit the road there in Logan. I mean, you're not going to have prepackaged meals for the entirety of the trip, right? Like, what sort of rules does the team and does the coaching staff need to abide by here while you have this extra time while you're away from home? I mean, are these guys confined into their hotel rooms outside of the moments when they're eating and when they're going over film and when they're going over practicing? I mean, what's that situation like?
The routine now is like, even when we practice tomorrow morning, we'll practice, and because we're not showering in our facility, we're not dressing in our practice facility, we'll send them home to shower and dress, bring them back, and then we'll eat in the practice facility, spaced out, everything prepackaged. They got their own meal, no buffets anymore. They'll eat, and then we'll head to the airport. And then every other meal the rest of the weekend will be prepackaged to be picked up and taken to the room and eaten. So we don't eat together. So after the games, before we bus back, we can't eat on the bus because they found that, that might be a way that it spreads. If someone has it, you're eating on the bus with masks off in a, contained area. So we, like we did at Arizona State and at Cal Poly when we played St. Mary's, we ate in the arena after the game before we got on the bus. So the world's changed this year, and it's not convenient, it's not easy, but in order to play, we're trying to abide by all the things that allow us to play. And so it's a different world we're living in.
No doubt about it. So all of your meals will be prepackaged from the time that you guys leave tomorrow till you get home, I'm guessing, on Sunday, because you guys play Thursday, Saturday. I don't know if there's enough time to get home Saturday night, but everything will be prepackaged. Almost everything will be scripted out from the time that you leave until the time that you guys get home.
Absolutely. The only variance to that, and I'll have to check on what we're going to do, is we get to an airport, are they going to be allowed to go ahead and order food from something that's open at the airport? I mean, I'd imagine so if we're not eating on top of each other, but that's something interesting I'll have to check into. Can they buy?
I don't know about that.
They go to a McDonald's. Who knows? It's, it's all interesting, but it's the world we're living in.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting, too. I don't know how much of the national championship game you watched last night, Dutch, but, it really stood out to me football-wise, that listening to Nick Saban and listening to a lot of these coaches now that we've seen the college football season end, they talk about how unique the challenges are, and then, how it almost adds another layer if you've been successful, right? Like maybe not the national championship or bust, but how all of these coaches have talked about, the unique circumstances here. And they all seem to be crediting the players so much. Now, there's obviously only so much you can do, but I'm guessing that resonates with you when you hear different college coaches, even in a different sport, talk about how dedicated the players have to be to make sure that this operation goes as smoothly as possible. Even understanding sometimes you can be as careful and protective as you can be, and things happen. But has that stood out to you in listening to different college coaches from different sports just talk about the level of dedication required from the student athletes themselves to make sure that this goes as smoothly as possible?
Yeah, and these guys, they've been fantastic. Obviously all schools online, so they're here not attending classes, interacting with other students. We get tested multiple times a week. I did county testing today, for example, myself. Sometimes we get tested within the building. If we have a game, we get instant results. We sit there as the results come. On the off days, sometimes we do county testing, and I'm like everybody else. I'll wait 2 days to get that result. And so there's just a lot of things that go into it. The organization for travel, the meals. When we get to Utah State, when are they going to test us on game day? Is it early in the morning? We have to get up early and get over there to get tested. Is it afternoon before our shoot-around? it's just stuff we all kind of flow and adapt with this year because that's what we have to do.
Yep, no doubt. Hey, Brian Dutcher joining us here on Extra 1360. Let's talk a little bit about Utah State. In addition to some of the challenges of travel and some of the challenges of routine that we just described there, they're pretty good. They're 9-3 Dutch. They're 4-1 at home, if I have this right. They have yet to lose in the Mountain West, where they are 6-0. What can you tell us a little bit about traveling to Logan and what you expect from Utah State?
Yeah, they've won 8 straight, 6-0 in the conference. Nemus Keita, their center, who's been a good player. He's the all-time shot blocker in Utah State history. He was banged up last year, coming off a knee injury. He's back to himself. He's active. He's got that bounce back in his game, and he might be the best center we play all year. And then they have Bean, a power forward, is a play-hard guy, and those two kind of set the tone. And play hard is a skill. I mean, you say, well, everyone should be playing hard. This kid plays harder than most, and so he's a very good rebounder. And so we have to rebound. We have to play against a team that's going to know everything we do, every play we run, every call we have. And we have to know that and not be afraid of that and just execute what we do and be us. And so it'll be a challenging 2 games. I wish, obviously, like Steve Alpert said, I heard him last week when they lost game 1. Are you excited to get a shot at him right away? San Diego State again. He said, no, I'd rather play him in 2 weeks at my facility at Lawler, but I can't. So we're going to play him twice in San Diego. That's like us. I'd love to have Utah State come to our facility for a game, but we don't. We got to play there twice, and we will be ready to play each game.
You wouldn't sign up for a split right now if I offered it to you, would you? Right? I mean, you're going in there to win 2 times.
We're going in there to win every game we play. So no split.
No split. Okay, good. I like that. I like that mentality. It's good. You don't want to settle here for splitting on the road. What is this, baseball? I noticed that your players seem to be talking, or at least Matt Mitchell seems to be talking about, is it beet juice? What is this? Has this been approved by everybody that runs this program, including the head coach, that your players, in an attempt now to deal with
juice? Yeah, a lot of studies about beet juice, opening up your blood vessels. I remember when I first got here, some professor across campus wanted to talk to me on beet juice, and I was like, oh, yeah, beet juice. And I kind of listened, but we didn't do anything. And now, as the research has gone on, our trainer, Sergio, and we've studied it, and we feel it has a benefit. Now, whether it's physical or mental, I don't know. But the guys had beet juice today, and they said, are you going to have beet juice? And I said, absolutely, but I'm going to mix it with something. So they got a laugh out of that, and we moved on. So, no beet juice for me today.
What are you going to mix it with, vodka or gin? Or how do you take your beet juice martinis?
But no, I'm not going to have any beet juice. I'm just going to bring a little Advil or something for that altitude headache I know I'm going to get.
And this is now, just so those who have no idea what we're talking about, beet juice as a remedy for altitude sickness or any potential impact from playing at altitude for a couple of days now. Somebody on campus suggested that this was a way to remedy that.
Absolutely, and there's been studies on it. If you look it up, you go online right now and look up the effects of beet juice has on altitude and your body, and I think it affects people different ways. But like I said, whether the kids believe it and that makes them adjust to altitude better, or whether it actually has physiological advantages to doing it, I think it might be a mix of both. So if they want to drink it, we provide it to them.
Yeah, it sounds delicious. Now, I thought this was pickle juice. I thought pickle juice had something to do with athletes and cramping. Or maybe that's just cramping and dehydration.
Yeah, I don't know. No, we're not doing any pickle juice, but we are. I think they have – Sergio just has like a Dixie cup, almost like a shot of it, a concentrate that they drink.
Right.
Started drinking today. They'll drink tomorrow and then drink through the week.
Huh. How interesting. Now, did Kawhi subscribe to this theory? Because didn't he have issues with altitude?
Yeah, I don't think we were doing it back then. We just started doing this maybe a year or two ago. But Kawhi always got deathly sick when we played at BYU. Both times we played there as his freshman and sophomore year, we had him on IVs before the game. So I don't know why that place in particular. I mean, we played other games at altitude and Laramie and other places like that. But BYU, I don't know what it was. He just could not get himself feeling well. And then a couple of years ago, Jeremy Hemsley missed the game at Wyoming because he just did not feel well, and it was something to do with the altitude. So who knows? It affects everybody.
Who knows
differently.
exactly?
It can't be an excuse. We have to play. We have to play to win, and we can't use it as a crutch.
Are there going to be fans in Logan?
Yes, there are. For the first time this year, I think I saw their attendance posted. They're getting like 1,500 a home game. So, whatever that means, how many students, X amount of parents, but they are allowing people to games in Logan.
And that's a hostile environment under normal circumstances. I'm guessing they're not going to just shuttle in the polite people. I'm going to guess that they're going to shuttle in the most hostile of the hostile Utah State fans.
You would think so. At least the students will be. They've got a great student section like we do. And so I'll be happy there won't be a lot of them there. I wish it was an empty building like people get to play at in Viejas right now. But based on the regulations in Utah, they're allowing a certain amount of people into the games.
Hey, Dutch, oftentimes, and last thing for us here this afternoon is, just looking at the standings and looking at overall records, I realize that those can be misleading, but I'm looking at Boise State at 11-1. Utah State, we just talked about, they've won 8 straight games. They're 9-3. Colorado State had a chance to see them, and, I think that their record is somewhat validated through the eye test, at least from what I saw. You guys, we've seen you continue to grow, get better, more contributions here. It does at least appear on the surface like maybe this league is a little bit more balanced this year than perhaps some of the years over the last couple of years. What do you make out of the start, at least at the top of the standings for the Mountain West Conference? What do you see with the top 4 or 5 teams in this league?
Well, I think the top is very strong. I think Colorado State is really good. They missed some chances to build resume because they were on lockdown for 2 weeks. They were supposed to play 2 or 3 Pac-12 teams and again didn't get to play them. Nevada, we saw them firsthand. Their guards are as good as there is. Utah State obviously did not get off to a great start, but has since started playing better. That's kind of what they did last year. They got better as the year went on. Boise is very good, very athletic, and they kind of gone after our model a little bit. They have transfer from Arizona, transfer from Oregon, a mid-major transfer. So they had 4 or 5 transfers in their lineup to go with a couple of freshmen that they've developed. And so they're athletic, long, and very good. So this league is going to be very competitive at the top. And so it'll be interesting to see who misses who gets those 2 home games instead of that one on the road that can make the difference in the season.
No doubt about it. Sometimes there's absolute truth in that. It's not who you play, but it's when you play them, especially on a season like this, and where you play them, obviously, given the circumstances. All the best. I'm sure that you will have everybody properly dressed in unison coming up on Thursday and then, of course, on Saturday night, which we always appreciate here on this show, that you're such a stickler when it comes to wardrobe on behalf of the coaching staff. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Darren, very much for having me.
You got it. That is Brian Dutcher, everybody, head coach at San Diego State.